I just see like 5 characters, and we already seen them.
Hmm.
Speaking of new characters, what do you think of that? What do you think of that
So
silent
in My
Toph
Hero
character?
Academia, what is the character that has the items that can come out of her stomach?
You mean her actual name or her hero name?
Her hero name is fine.
Creati.
Creaty.
Yes.
So anyway, thanks. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Game Hunter and I were just talking about who in this series, Dragon Prince, would be a good matchup for My Hero Academia. And Game Hunter had said that Creaty would be a good match for Claudia.
Who the hell is Claude? You talking about Gordon's wife?
The wizard,
But that's not her name. Cla-
Claudia.
no, Claudia is his wife's name.
Oh, what's the wizard's name? I thought it was Claudia.
I don't know her name.
I thought it was Claudia. I'm pretty sure it was Claudia.
I mean, I could look that up without seeing much.
You're gonna spoil something, and then you're gonna tell me about it.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna. Daughter of Viren. Wait a minute. Oh God.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. How do I stop that? Sorry.
What?
I was trying to turn up my volume for you a little bit, and I accidentally turned up volume for something else.
Great. That's something else I'm gonna have to forget.
What?
Nope.
Yeah, see? What did I warn
Nope.
you or did I warn you?
I was trying to look up her. I guess her name is Claudia. Never mind.
Would you? So Creaty and Claudia would make a great couple. That's all I'm saying.
They look like they could be sisters.
Hmm.
His name is Viren. That's what his name is. I keep forgetting him. The guy we're calling Gordon. Um. Well, these 2 episodes are jam packed with a lot of stuff, such as the death of the king, the I guess the coup of Varen becoming the king. He didn't waste any time usurping his brother, quote unquote, position. Um,
Hmm.
Speaking of that brother, I'm gonna sit there and say, up to this point, I felt bad for that guy, and then this happened. I'm like, well, yep, he's a dick. I mean, talking about using his power and stuff like that. Like that's a way that's a way to get yourself killed. Like that's all I'm gonna sit there and
What are you
say.
talking about? When did he use his powers?
You know, when the king was talking about using, using his power as the king to tell him that he needs to know his place and stuff like that. He certainly liked to use that whole power thing in terms of like he has in hierarchy he has greater authority over him. Like, all I can say
So
is that
you think the king's a jerk?
yeah, up to that point, I think he was a jerk. I really do think he was a jerk.
Here's my interpretation of that because I didn't like it at first because it seemed very heavy-handed, and then I thought that what's going on here speaks to a lot more than we saw in that scene. I think there's a lot of signs here that something more is going on than we think there is, and I'll spell it out for you. So we saw that he went in there and had that conversation with him, and the guy said, "Oh, I see what's going on. You're arrogant, blah blah blah." But I think what's happening there was not that he just flipped out on him like out of nowhere. I think that there was a buildup to that we haven't seen on screen yet. And I think that beyond that, I think he's wise and understands that there's something going on here and that guy is a snake. And that part of the reason we put him in his place is because he knows he's a snake and he has a different agenda. And one of the best examples of why I think that is if you see when the elves come in to assassinate the king, you'll notice that he stands to the side and the elves don't attack him. And he doesn't fight them. He just steps away. And the only reason the guy gets his voice back is because someone bumps into him. But other than that, he just stepped. They show 2 shots of him just standing back and not fighting at all and not being involved at all. The elves don't hurt him and he doesn't hurt the elves. And that's all there is to it. So I think that he might have been cooperating with the elves a lot more than we think he was. And another scene, and I can't remember who was in the scene, so I'm not sure if this counts as evidence or not. But in an episode, a previous episode, remember when they find out about the elves and they go in the clearing to hunt them down, and they get there, to hunt them down, and the elves aren't there, and they just immediately give up. They're like, well, guys, I guess that's it. The elves aren't here, and they leave, and they don't even check, like look around at all, or like check to see if there's any magic or anything. That made me really wonder if um, he was deliberately not trying his hardest. Like, what do you think of that?
You know what, his son? I think his son's just lazy. Because that entire that entire scene, like what he went, like Varen didn't go. He sent his son off with the butterfly, saying that this all he said to his son, and these were his exact words. This this moth, excuse me, this moth is it can is attracted to the elves' magic aura,
Mm-hmm.
and it will guide you to them. He didn't tell his son that it was going to do anything more than that. Once his son, being an idiot, realized that there was nothing to, I guess, nothing that he should. Best way I could put it, his son was being lazy because he didn't believe his father. He didn't believe the moth because according to his own words too, I think this happened before where they used an insect and it didn't work. So when the insect failed to detect anything, he immediately gave up. Now there is a soldier in his platoon that does stare at the moth for a good long while. I was actually thinking he was going to go up to it and maybe touch it or something like that, but he didn't do anything. He walked off, which was even stupider. But I really do think I really do think it was just plain laziness. I don't think Varen. Now I'm not saying that Varen wasn't working. Now that you brought that up, because I didn't really notice that. I'll probably go back and watch that scene again. But I'm not saying Varen wasn't working with the elves when this was all going down. But I do
Mm-hmm.
think since he wasn't involved in the whole like thing, the whole like trying to find them out there in the woods before the full moon came up.
Mm-hmm.
I that was all his son in the woods with his platoon. His son was just being lazy. I don't really think that's any real evidence other than the elves being crafty. And I'll give you this. Maybe he knew this was gonna happen because he knew how his son is. Because another thing too, throughout this entire episodes that we've seen him, he doesn't even like really confide in his son that much. He actually confides in his daughter a whole heck of a lot more. I don't think he has. I don't think he thinks his son is competent. I mean,
Maybe that's
granted,
why he sent him then.
granted, I mean that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying that like none of this was like his plan, but I'm just saying that he had no real direct involvement. Because all I can really say is that, as I said before, he might not even like he might send him out there because he knew his son wasn't competent. But
Mm-hmm.
he confines his daughter a whole heck of a lot more. Who, by the way, in the first two episodes was kind of revealed to be a dunce, maybe a little bit, or maybe not that swift. Clearly, she's not. She's more than just a little swift. She's very intelligent. She literally, granted, she was gonna turn. She got herself out of the chains by a key, but she was willing to look around for magic items to get herself out of it. She was just gonna sit there and let everything play out.
She's
Um,
gonna turn the rope into snakes.
that's what I'm saying. She was willing to turn the chains into something else with magic items, but when she found the key, she just did the smart thing and got the key out. Um,
So if you were the king's lead man and you were trying to save the king from assassination, would you send a small group of troops that might not even be able to take them in a straight on fight, led by your not very bright son, or would you send a larger group of troops led by Claudia, who has magic and can counteract some of their magical powers that they have? Wouldn't you send at least somebody that knew magic to take on magical elves?
but here's the thing. Um, a lot of it. Well, I know you're saying yes. You would send the most competent person, but at the same time, even though he does confide in his daughter, that doesn't mean he has that much trust in her either. But
Mm.
but
Think
what?
about how many people died in that fight. It looks like all the humans died. There were dead corpses everywhere, but his son lived and he lived, and they were both totally fine to capture the last elf.
Here's my crackpot theory. I'm gonna sit there and say I don't think he intended to kill the king. He really wanted to save his life because I don't think he had any. Granted, we'll find out later on if this was truly a coup or not. But what I want to say is because according to everything from the first episode, they sent out a war. They sent out a soldier for the. We don't even know why he was out there in the beginning with and why he got caught by that elf in the first place. I think her name was Rayla. Why he got caught by her in the first place, or even why he was out there.
You don't think he came up with a to save the king that he knew the king wasn't going to accept. And he was pushy about it so that everybody would see that he came up with a plan that was going to work to save the king.
Not, I don't think he's that
He knew
competent.
the
I'm
king
waiting
well
to.
enough to know the king was turning the plan down, but he wanted everybody to see that he made an effort, so he just picked something that he knew was going to work out for him. That's seems like the kind of thing these writers would do.
Like yes and no, but what I'm saying, what I think is a lot of this seems to be too. I mean, a lot of this seems to be kind of coincidental. Granted, I mean coincidences usually lead to like cleverly crafted plans. But the thing is, he already knows that the elves are already angry. Why would at the very beginning of the episode we see a soldier? Well, where was this soldier going? He was going. He had to be going somewhere on the king's orders, and he had just happened to come across an elf chick that wasn't trying to kill him. There's no way that he would have known that was going to happen because he doesn't like the elves to begin with. I mean, this was clear in episode 5. He didn't like the elves to begin with. So I highly doubt like
So why
I
did he save their egg then?
huh.
Why did he save their egg then?
According to Claudia, he was going to use it as a weapon. No, not
Maybe.
Claudia.
She said it. She said it was a weapon. She didn't say he was going to use it as a weapon. Would use it as a weapon.
Like that entire scene with the whole like telling the whole egg thing and it's a weapon, kind of fed my theory that like in the whole thing of how dragons' eggs are usually sources of great magic. I'm almost certain he was going to draw from that life essence. I'm almost certain, considering that dragons live for a long time. But
it's really interesting. The whole thing is really interesting. That I don't know. I smell a puppet master of some type.
this is what I wanted to say before I got cut off. What I think is that I don't think that what I was trying to say before you cut me off was that what I think is that he didn't initially tend to kill the king. That only happened the moment he refused. Because here's the thing, regardless of how you say that he was trying to choose he might have still been trying to use an easy way out. But I think he was truly trying to save this man because he went out to him for a second time. Even confided in his daughter about the whole fact that the king is being selfish and whatnot. We even see a picture of the king sitting there. According to him, he said the king wanted him in that portrait. There was some serious trust within these two. He even went out of his way before he got stomped into the ground by royalty designation. He considered him his brother. And this is like one of the reasons why I'm sitting here saying that I feel sorry for that guy when that happened. Because, in my honest opinion, I don't care where on the totem pole you are. If you've been friends for this long and you got to the point where you have a brotherly bond, and like stuff like that, you don't sit there and because you're feeling threatened, stomp this man down. He could have done a lot less there than he did. He literally had this man kneel before him. And this is like one of these I don't like kings. And this is a perfect example.
So why does he sneer so much at the end of episode 4 when he finds out that the king's children are alive? If this guy's the most precious thing in the world, why does he?
But here's the thing: I don't think his initial plan was to kill him. That happened after the king curb stomped his pride. I think everything that's happening now was an after effect. I think he
leaps to power grab mode. He steals the voice out of the stepson. He steps out of the way so the king can be killed. He does all sorts of stuff that raises suspicion that he had more going on here. I think that whatever he had planned for the king, he didn't think the king was going to take it. But if the king had accepted it, I think it would have been a form of power grab as well.
I'm not saying his usurping of all power isn't suspicious. But what I believe, and this is just my genuine belief, I don't think because somebody, and this is just like from characters that are supposed to like be evil and conniving. Usually, we see forms of conniving behavior way before they attempt to take the power. There was no point, like in the daylight, letting you know that other than the cane that he has from the old wizard from the very beginning of from the lore we got in the very first episode, that he was like technically evil or anything or even conniving for that matter. He was trying to save his life using dark magic, which he did before. According to what we know, he's been saving this king's life, I'm fighting for this man's like at least for the first half of the episode. The later half I don't care, but like up to the point when I was saying I don't think his plan was to kill him or like take like I'm pretty sure in the back of his mind he was having plans of taking the power, but I don't think he was leaping to kill him because that's even more suspicious. Especially if like with
Mhm.
how fast he did it and the people that he decided to confine in. You think the daughter would have been in all this. I'm not entirely sure the daughter isn't or is involved because, like I said before, he does confide in her a lot. Well, that's more than the son. Um,
Okay, so let me throw something else out here then. If he wasn't planning on the king dying, why did he fight so hard and take such extreme measures to make sure the stepson did not speak to the king after he had that conversation with him?
well, here's my theory about that. There's no proof of this, but I don't think the elves killed him. I think because there is a huge like gap of time after he's on his knees looking up at the man, and we cut away and we don't come back and we don't even go back in there after he walks out. My theory is I think he was killed already.
When the elves got in there, the king was dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they were in there. Like, when he got in there, they were all he was already killed. That's my theory. I think that man killed him.
That makes perfect sense, and that explains why he was so aggressive to the prince and why he's so mad that the prince is still alive. Yeah, this all sounds like a coup to me. It sounds like this guy like completely planned everything out to work out the way he wanted it to
I don't
end up
think he
in
was
power
initially
levels.
part of the plan. I think what happened, he was trying to. I don't know what he was doing. I feel like maybe what's truly going to happen is that he wanted the king to give him his status, and he didn't. And he fought back. I think this is like one of those things where it's just one of those. I truly think they had respect for each other. Even he did for him at one point, and then
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff happened, and he killed him. And it might have been on purpose, but I don't think the king. He was the first thing he was going to do was trying to kill him. I don't think that was the first thought in his mind. I know he has a lot of planning behind it. It was probably just like a second plan in case the first plan goes awry. And the first plan wasn't thought out
Mm-hmm.
too well. But the second plan was. I will sit there. I'm not gonna fight that all this was too fast and they even brought up the fact that like they usually wait 7 days, like a week, to mourn the previous king before they even attempt
Mm-hmm.
to make a new one. He literally like waited no time to take his power. Um, Granted,
The funeral meets the dorm, the wedding feast.
he didn't even like get the coronation because that Toph chick I want to bring up, at least the one who reminds me of Toph, because
Mm-hmm.
she's mute, she's not blind, which I find kind of funny that
Mm-hmm.
she's mute because like Toph
And
was
she doesn't
blind.
seem to be deaf either. She seems to just be mute.
Yeah, she's definitely not deaf. But Toph wasn't deaf. She was just like blind. I
Mm-hmm.
just find it kind of funny that they have like and on top of that, at least from the one I can tell, she was really capable of fighting. She even fought an elf with no magic.
Mm-hmm.
There's the other thing too.
Yeah, but
I don't even think the elves are natively use magic other than for like sending messages and whatnot. I don't think they use them to fight. At least the moon elves don't. I don't know what the other elves.
mm-hmm.
But this is interesting. These two episodes are really interesting. I'll bring up some culture. This like the last episode that we watched, episode 5. They made it a point like the entirety of the episode to bring up how humans view elves and consider them monsters. I didn't really bring this up last time we were reviewing this, but the elves design is very unique. I don't think I've ever seen elves with horns. Have you?
um no, that's usually something a satyr has instead of a elf.
What's a satyr?
But a satyr is like a horned forest spirit. Not unlike an elf, but they have hooves for feet too, and they look like they're half human, half goat, kind of, but much more human than goat. I think that satyr was where the word Satan originated from too, because originally the devil was thought to live in the forest.
That's interesting. But
Yeah.
I think it's quite interesting how humans view elves and they consider them monsters. And when I heard that, I was like, It doesn't help that you guys have horns on your head. Actually, speaking of horns, I will say the one thing that kind of blows my whole like theory of that maybe he killed him in that room was the fact that guy, the elf guy, the elf chief that we saw, when he got captured, he
Hmm.
was missing a horn. So I don't know what happened in the time that like we didn't see him fighting and whatnot. Like he
I
clearly got.
just assumed he took like a low key injury.
Well, he had more injuries just than the horn missing. He was scratched all over. I mean, he even like he couldn't. Apparently, he couldn't get anywhere because he was limping. He literally sent a phoenix
Mhm.
arrow, which I guess we're gonna figure out where that goes several episodes later. Because that was intriguing. Like, nonetheless. Uh,
I thought it was like a message. I thought he used that
yeah, I mean, I know it's a
arrow to
message,
like
but
send a
I'm just
message.
saying, I know it's a message, but the thing is, like, we're gonna clearly see where that goes later. Because I mean, they wouldn't take the time to let us know that Rayla or whatever her name is saw it. It seems like such an arbitrary thing to let us know that she saw it. On top of that,
Hmm.
she was even hiding something. I don't know what's going on. Like maybe we don't know what's going on in the in Zadia. So
I thought maybe she just didn't think there was any good in them knowing that their father died.
well, Callum already knew he was gonna die. He literally looked back and then assumed that he died. The only person they
And
probably would
also,
be
she
trying to.
would have, to explain how she knew that he would have died, she would have had to explain that she took a blood oath um, to kill him.
Well, he knew he was there to kill. He knew she was there to kill him because I mean that was the first thing that she said to him when they first met.
Yeah, and then maybe there's something else to it, but I can't think of what.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's something that she did not say that we don't know, and it probably has something to do with that arrow that she saw. Like
Hmm.
that's why I'm convinced that like we're gonna figure out where that went. And we're gonna figure out what the aftermath of that is because I almost want to say that that arrow is a we've succeeded, but I also died type of thing. That thing looked like a phoenix.
Hmm.
So like that's like one thing I know we're gonna see we're probably gonna see it at the end of this season, like what that did because I know in Avatar season book one, we didn't see the Water Tribe until the end of book one. So like that, well, like that's a thing. And this book is called Book of the Moon, so clearly we're gonna see the wherever they're from. I
Hmm.
wonder how big this like how far they gotta travel because like I know I think it's kind of funny that tongue in cheek that she brought up that when he went to go because I know episode 5 they went to go to to like the cabin where they were supposed to go in the first place and she had brought up like no more detours.
Yeah.
I really paused the episodes like you know you're not gonna get your wish. If I know that people who make this show well enough, there are probably gonna be a lot of detours. Uh, Considering how carefree and monk like the little kid is.
Well, also, I mean, yeah, he's definitely the Aang of the series. I also think that they're probably going to get over there and have a similar issue as what they had with their people. Like, they're going to go over there and find that the elves are just as narrow and angry as anybody else too. You know.
I mean, I think that's kind of obvious because according to Callum, when he was talking to his little brother about why don't we just tell Aunt I don't even know her name. I will look it up, and I'm probably gonna see something that I'm not going to see. So I'm just gonna call her Toph right now until we watch another episode and figure what her name is. Her name might be Maya.
Maya. It's Maya.
Okay, I pulled that one out of my butt, but I was correct. Thank you for that, Maya. um,
Jesse remembered, not me.
Thank you, Jess. No one could probably hear that.
She can hear you.
No, I said no one on this side of the video watching probably heard her, but we're gonna
So,
move.
like 100% of nobody.
Yeah, pretty much. Thank you, Jock. Thank you for reminding me how meaningless my life is. Thank you for
If a
that.
podcast, if a podcast is placed in the forest and nobody's around, does it make a sound?
Does that mean we're dead?
No, I just said if a podcast plays in the forest and
Yeah,
nobody's
I know
around,
what you're
does it
saying,
make a
but does that
sound?
mean does that make us dead then? Because I mean, the context of that question is that technically no, if no one can receive the sound, but the tree still fell in the forest regardless of the sound received or not received.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
in
in this
theory,
case, the podcast doesn't exist until we're done with it. So it's not saying like we can't hear each other, because obviously we can. But once we're done and the podcast is created, if it's played in the forest and nobody's around, does it make it sound? And does
tangents
YouTube even know? Like YouTube would still count it as a view, right?
tangents aside, where was I? Told Aunt Maya. I think it was Aunt Maya and the host when the whole one sidedness of like the people. According to everything that we know, everybody in this world hates each other because of the dragon egg that was supposedly destroyed. Uh, so I'm almost certain that they're probably one sided, and who like we're probably gonna meet Rafa's parents if anything. I will say I'm still reminded. I'm a little bit sad that we're not gonna see more of the king because I was reminded of Sokka and Katara's father, the one that was missing,
Mm-hmm.
who they thought were dead until like Book of Fire, when it was revealed that he was still alive. Um, that's why I'm almost convinced that he's not dead somehow, but I know he gotta be dead for the story to make sense. But
Well, I don't understand how the bracelet would unbind unless he's dead, because they said that's the only way.
yeah, they say that, and you find out at some point later on that that was a total lie. So I mean, I'm taking that with a grain of salt. But I mean, at this point, I
Mhm.
have to say that he's dead because like he if the king, as proud as the king was, he wouldn't let the coronation happen. So
Would you? You know, it'd be really cool. I know you're into the video game space. What if you made a game where there was like two farms and they were battling each other, and instead of like tanks and stuff like that, you had like tractors and farm vehicles, and they were all like loaded up with farmers that were trying to kill each other, and like your big army could be like a combine and stuff like that, and you called it grain assault, because like their base was like their granary, and that's where all the, if they lost their granary, then the game was over. So you could call it grain assault.
you know the reason why I let you even entertain what you're about to say, because where are you gonna go with this? And then you just like you went the total different. You just subverted my expectations.
Yeah,
Why, Jock?
like Joel Barrymore, the dog.
Why? Why? Why do I let myself lose more brain cells? I feel like I'm like I feel like I'm at half brain capacity every time I talk to you, and this gets worse and worse. I think
I
by
hear that a lot, but
I think
usually from women.
is that a good thing or a bad thing? Considering your wife's in the background.
What do you think, Jess? When you talk to me, do you say that you feel like you've got half your brain cells gone? Jessie agrees. She says that's exactly how she feels.
I don't know if I should be gauging that, considering that she also teaches disabled kids. So I don't know like what that says about you or her tolerance for you.
Jess, am I harder or easier to tolerate than the kids you teach? She says depends on the day.
Okay, moving on. I can't even move on for that. This is really sad.
I know that she uses some of her strategies with me.
That was Google, and apparently it was listening to me.
Are you talking to somebody in the room?
No, but Google was listening to me apparently. I think I said something in the words of like, "Okay, Google." Dang it, nothing. But that's happened a lot recently. It did not happen at all when we were doing My Hero Academia. It almost seems like it wants to listen in. Trump, you cannot have my internet space.
If a
Uh,
podcast plays in the forest and only Google hears it, does it make a sound?
so clearly because it receded. Moving. There's not really much to talk about with these two episodes. Again, we're running into that problem. Um,
I think I really enjoy the mixture of comedy and action and lightheartedness. I've really enjoyed the diversity of the characters. Like, I'm not just talking about the fact that they use black characters, but I saw some Asian looking characters. I saw they had someone that was mute. Like they're really like putting everybody on like a really good level in that case. I like the I like the characters themselves so far. I like the personalities of both the good and evil characters. Like with one exception of that main evil character, like everybody just doesn't seem, and he seems like he could have a lot of depth too. Like the characters all have depth and potential, and they're interesting. And I want to learn more about this universe. And I like the way the universe works. And exactly like you said, like how big is this place? Like I feel like I'm just getting a tiny peek at something that's huge. And not only do they pack a lot of action into the episodes, but
That's
they
what she
pack a lot
said.
of story. Like this story is going really, really fast, but I don't feel like it's going so fast that I'm having a tough time with it. So, I mean, if we're looking at this overall as like, you know, as the story is like pretty much set up now and kicking off, I think it's really, really good.
The thing is, too, I want to. I guess if we're talking about characters, that you brought this up, you
Mm-hmm.
reminded me. Um, not just because he's black, but it's interesting that the deaf chick ends up telling I guess somebody from her platoon to go follow them, and she specifically
Uh-huh.
tells him to make sure that he's quiet when he's following them. I'm actually intrigued because, like I said before, there's been a lot of like diversity of characters, and it seems kind of weird that they decided to make this type of character. I don't even know what he's capable of, but for crying out loud, we had like a we just had a big burly chick take on a scrawny elf with a shield and almost kill her. Like so, the physical capabilities of the humans in this world is ridiculous. Like
Uh-huh.
I didn't even think that it was. I mean, granted, when I saw her in the shield, I was like, "Yep, we got a shield character. This is gonna be amazing to fight." Because I've very rarely do we see characters wielding shields or capable of fighting somebody who doesn't have a shield. Like very rarely, that's not that is the case. So
Yeah.
speaking of things like I guess we're talking about things that were said. Did you find it kind of weird that I understand he's the stepson, but it's like when the little brother said that he probably wouldn't mind you calling him dad, and then like he probably would welcome that. When he said probably not or something, I don't think that was directed towards the comment of he would welcome that. They think there's some story and history going on. Maybe his parents were killed or something like that. Like uh
I don't know, but I thought it was very interesting that he felt that way about his dad and him calling him dad at the exact same time in the story that the other guy was in the room saying you're my friend and the guy put him down like hard for it. Like I thought that was interesting. He's like, I don't think he'd mind you calling him dad. And me saw how he called like what he did to that other guy when he stepped out of line. That also built up my idea that there was a lot of backstory there that we're missing. If the stepson could have started just randomly start calling him dad, and the kid who seems like he's been right every single time didn't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? Like he's been right about everything every single time. Everything he's tried to do, he's succeeded at. Every piece of advice he's had has been like you've seen him like win the respect of the others. The other two pretty much do what he says and like don't try to like force him off the path. Do you know what I mean? And he's the only one. He's gotten everything he wants, and he seems like he really knows his shit. And he's, you know, I trust him because this is his dad. I trust him to say, like, if you called him dad, it would be cool. And yet the other guy's like, look, I come to you as a friend right now. And he's like, you know, stay in your lane. What the hell are you doing? Like, you're serving
here's the
God
thing.
before me.
Here's the thing. We're like, I mean, yeah, we definitely have some history we're missing, but
Mhm,
he kind of laid it out there. As much as I even hated him doing what he did, I mean, it was part of his
mhm,
character to begin with. But he made it quite
mhm.
clear that all the way up to this point in this moment, that he pretty much let him have the run of the castle, um, and
Mhm.
have the run of like everything that he wanted.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense that because he has a staff, and I think something that powerful would be only be handed in the hand of the king, but clearly he let him have it, and he's never asked
Mhm.
for it. Uh, so like my whole thing is that like with the whole brother thing and how like what
Yes.
I think Varian truly did feel like he was his friend, and he wasn't just a chancellor or wherever he was, to the king.
Mm.
I think he truly did feel that he was his friend. But in that
I
moment, that
feel like he was
when he
trying.
was told that he wasn't, and that he was just
Mhm.
some lowly commoner that has had the
Mhm.
privilege to be in the king's castle, I think honestly he may have been thinking this may have been in the back of his mind. You never know, but I don't think he intended. I don't. I think he really did not want this to happen. But it unfortunately it did. It did happen. I think that makes him a.
Mhm.
Like I said before, he doesn't really have much depth. Depth. He's probably gonna get a lot of that later on, and we're gonna probably figure out. It's like how I'm talking about the whole. I'm waiting for Kalia to lose it. Maybe she's not gonna be
Yeah.
the one to lose it. Maybe he's gonna lose it.
Hmm.
Cause like I mean, even though he is usurping power a lot, he doesn't seem to be like, at least from all the expressions I've seen, he doesn't seem to be really 100% into it yet, or something like that. Like maybe he's starting. Maybe he thinks that he did the wrong thing. I don't know. I can't. Nothing he's done at this point makes me think that. But I'm saying that a character like from the way he presented himself and the plan and everything to the king, and the king rejected it, and he seemed very like dejected, from being rejected like that. Um,
Hmm.
Maybe there is some like underlying motives in terms of maybe he truly did want to save the king's life, but when he decided not to, that's when this plan got concocted. Because he doesn't seem stupid. He doesn't seem incompetent. He seems very competent. He seems very intelligent. He's got a dark staff magic on his side. He's the only one at this point that we've seen besides his daughter who can use black magic, which is very weird. Um, and the whole point to the whole incompetent
Is he
son,
using black magic?
he's capable of using it. And I think he was because those eyes. Because up to this point, anybody who's used magic, their eyes never turn dark. His and his
Yeah,
daughter's
that's a good
eyes
point.
turn dark immediately from using magic. So
That's a good point.
they
Yeah.
gotta be they gotta be using black magic. This is no other explanation for it. 'Cause I don't think magic is supposed to turn your eyes black. Because I think even like his daughter was using the wind spell, her eyes stayed
Mhm.
normal when she did that. It didn't get covered in the black color. That
Hmm.
seems insanely racist, but but
Do you think that this is like the I'm sorry, do you think that this world is like the Avatar world and that magic users are the children of other magic users in the same way that like firebenders are the children of firebenders and so forth?
yes, because typically I hate to use outside like folklore or stuff like that, but when it comes to these like
Mm-hmm.
highly detailed like worlds of magic beings, usually
Mm-hmm.
one of the main reasons why in some instances humans are capable of using magic is because they're descended from like a being or a race of beings that are capable of using magic. I think sometimes elves, sometimes something else that's humanoid, or sometimes the main character is descended from a fairly powerful like magic user, or they have some like fairy or fae lineage that they don't know about yet. Um, and this kind of fits the main character a little bit too much because like we don't know anything about his mother or his father. Um, Apparently the king can't use magic. At least I don't think he could. I mean, he never gave any indication he could. Kylo must have
Mm-hmm.
seemed to be really surprised that he was capable of using magic. So you think that would have been something that he would have, that's something that they would have told him at some point. I don't think any of the other people in the kingdom even know he can use magic, because I think you'd think Varon would have been more like cautious around him if he knew he could use magic. There's
So
like a
that
lot of
brings up two
things.
points. That brings up 2 points. The stepson A is probably descended from a magic user, and B, if it's common knowledge in this world that magic users are have children that are magic users, then B, he doesn't know who his real parents are.
Who, Varon or the kid?
The white one, the stepson.
The white one, he says.
I don't know, like
um, I
the
mean,
stepson, because I already said the stepson. I don't know what
no, I
else.
know, I know. I mean, his name is Callum, but I mean that
Callum,
makes
yeah.
sense. He doesn't know his. He doesn't. Well, actually, that doesn't really make sense because he hasn't said that he doesn't know, and he
Well, he
has.
hasn't said that he doesn't know, but if it's common knowledge children's are magic users, then he would know that his parent was a magic user, not so surprised when he was able to use magic, but he like flips out when he first casts a magic spell.
Well,
So it
he
makes it
did say that he thought it was gonna blow up in his face.
right. And he said, I'm not much of anything. So if he was the child of a magic user and the stepson of the king, like there's a huge story there. But now it sounds like maybe one of his parents or both of them were magic users if he's this much of a natural and can cast a spell just from memory like that right at the first chance he gets.
That is also true. I want to bring this up now. You brought this up, the whole magic thing. Okay, you remember
Mm-hmm.
you in the first two episodes you said that you were reminded of Camelot, and I honestly thought you were being literal, but you're probably just drawing emphasis from the world of like Sir Arthur and the Knights and stuff. I thought the world that they were in.
It's not just Camelot. In Camelot, there's two worlds. There is the world of the knights, and then there's the world of the fairy creatures, Avalon.
You know what I'm saying? What I
And
was saying, I thought you were making saying that this world was literally King
oh,
Arthur and like the
no,
knights,
inspired.
but no, but like, I think you're talking about the world that Arthur, the world, the folklore world that Sir King Arthur was in and everything around it. Um,
Mm-mm.
but what I want to bring up, he's bringing the whole I guess the whole this is theory crafting part of the podcast, but usually, now here's the thing: we have a king. We have a king in this thing. He's like the top, and he's also got his own armor, so we know he can fight. He has
Mm-hmm.
something that that could be misconstrued as Excalibur. We don't know because it definitely looked different than most blades that we've seen up to this point.
Mm-hmm. And didn't
But
he kind of casually stick it into the ground in stone next to him and it stayed there?
I guess, but
I'd have to really see that scene, but like now that you talk about that special, I remember that like
what I want to what I want
mm-hmm.
to bring up a little bit, and we'll get back to the sword and the Excalibur connections that
Mm-hmm.
could be there. Merlin and Morgana, these are two specific characters to the King Arthur lore, and they're really important. One,
Mm-hmm.
Merlin for bringing the sword to Arthur's attention and for him to draw it, and Morgana, the evil witch that Arthur, I think, at some point ends up slaying or something to that extent. I forgot what happened, but what I'm gonna say is this is a huge castle. Why wasn't there, besides Varen, why wasn't there like a resident mage? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why wasn't there like a Merlin character that we didn't get a glimpse of?
And was there a Merlin character and that's his father? That would
That's
make
that.
him kind of an Arthur equivalent, wouldn't it?
I mean, yeah, that would make him very important and make him really powerful, considering how powerful Merlin was in the
Mm-hmm.
story. He was the one that taught Arthur everything he knew, and it makes sense why the king would keep him so close and also consider him a son. There's a
Mm-hmm.
possibility that maybe he was there during the climatic fight of of the dragon. On top of that, maybe, and this is another theory, like this could also. What if maybe he's not really a stepson? What if maybe he really is his blood father, but he's only a half father? Maybe the wizard Merlin was a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe there was something going on there. Because we also see the Varen, the evil guy, and his wife. We don't know what she's capable of, but she's clearly capable of using magic. And she also seems to be very against her husband taking the crown. She's probably the most vocal about it for whatever reason. I don't know why. We'll probably learn about that later on. But she seems to be most vocal about him hurrying this situation up. There's a possibility. I don't know. This is just headcanon, and this is just there is absolutely no proof of this. But what if maybe that wizard was like maybe she had a sister, like a twin sister, maybe, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's who it was. That's his mother, and that's kind of why he's capable of using magic. Because we don't really know the laws of like how magic is passed down if you do have a kid. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
possibility that maybe only magic users can only gain magic if their mother or somebody in their family, a female figure, maybe has magic. I don't know. That's
Mm-hmm.
headcanon. There's no proof of that. That's just my theory. I don't know. It doesn't hold much water, considering we don't know anything about the main character right now, other than he can use magic. And also, apparently, he has a He has a toy in the cabin that responded to the orb that he stole from Claudia,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird, by the way. I don't know, like why he would have that, and of all things, we also got a chance to hear all of like the magic, the primary magics again, which I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to forgive me. I'll learn it eventually, just like I learned air, water, earth,
I'll eventually learn everybody's names, but I knew the magic. I have a
But
tough time with anything involving a proper name.
hence My Hero Academia.
Mm-hmm.
You only remember Froppy.
Froppy. You want to talk about Froppy?
No, we're keeping on.
You brought up Froppy.
I just suppose that's the only name you remember.
It's a perfect name. It's like Hoppy and Friend.
Sure. Let's go with that. Because I don't actually know what the reason behind her name is. I really don't remember, actually.
It's gotta be, right?
Huh?
It's gotta be. It's your Hoppy friend, Froppy.
She better not turn into some Barney character. That'd be ridiculous. But I don't know. I don't know what I want to say left about. I mean, we at the end of all this, we apparently, well, I mean, the king, well, the Viren, the sneaky guy, finds out that the children are dead. Which I guess another thing, he was very, he was very on the on like the whole that they were dead. Almost certain he was going to craft their deaths so he can get the power because if he knew they were alive, that I mean he could never become king.
I think he was hoping that by the time, if either would either die, or if by the time
They found out he
people
would
figured
already
out
become
they were
king.
alive, yeah, or he found out through his underground and was able to take them out that way. I think he was hoping that he
Almost certain that
actually real.
I'm almost certain he wanted to get the crown on his head before, because that way they couldn't take the crown from him. There might be
Remember, he was in the process of taking that kid for prisoner when he got distracted by the elves.
that's also true. Like I said there are definitely holes in the whole theory that maybe he killed him in that room, but at the same time, it's still a theory nonetheless until they prove it wrong. There are definitely holes in that. I think maybe your theory is a lot more probable because of just everything. I still don't know how he would have because like the elves already hate humans. There's no way they would work with one just to kill the king. So I don't even know. There's a hole there for you right there.
There might if he was like, "Hey, want me to set it up?"
But here's the thing, like if that's the case, then it means the egg clearly somebody in the elf colony knows about this. Like they know about the egg still being around.
Maybe he told them that he would destroy the egg if they didn't comply.
But it's just kind of ridiculous though that the elves they literally sent a clan out there to kill the humans because they destroyed the egg. Doesn't make any sense. If they knew they're risking.
Unless the person he's in contact with made up a story to control the elves.
I mean, that also true, but the whole theory that maybe they knew and they're just working with them, it makes no sense because they're risking their own clansmen's lives. They clearly sent out the most capable that they had. It just seems kind of weird that if that was the case that they were working with them, they've risked their own lives, meaning that they're just as cynical about this. And on top of that, Varen was about to lead a crusade to kill the elves.
If this magic user guy had plans to betray the king and take over the human side of the world, don't you think if he wanted to rule the entire world that there could be some possibilities between controlling the king of the other side too?
I mean, of course, that's always the case with a lot of things. I mean, you control one side, you try to control it all, but it just kind of I mean, we don't know the makeup of this world yet because all we know is that it's a giant landmass cut in two.
I mean, there's definitely some conspiracy, and that could taking over the world could be the conspiracy. So
all I know is that apparently, we're going to see a lot of racism in this show, and it's going to be a different type of racism. It's going to be against elves and anything else that's fairy. Because
the racism also seemed like a distraction. Can I be honest with you? I mean, the writers knew what they were doing when a king told a white man to bow down and accept that he was his servant. So I wondered if
I don't think that was deliberate racism. That was probably accidental, and they probably immediately.
I think the writers knew what was going on there when they had him face and said, "You are a servant," and the guy was bowing down and he was super proud and didn't want to do it. I think the writers, I mean, these people are so sensitive to stuff like that anyway, with censors and everything. They knew that they were doing something a little bit edgy there. I wondered if they were doing that to help distract you from what, like, the storyline that we've been speculating on. I wondered if they like wanted you to focus on that instead of like the detail and miss the details that they were following up with there um until they wanted you to think about them again, and then you could. I missed that. I was focusing on the other thing.
I don't know. I mean, like honestly, when it comes to like shows that include a black guy and a white guy, and then
Mm-hmm.
usually sometimes intentionally, other times unintentionally, put them into like racist situations. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of like agenda that they have, I don't really know. I mean, the people who make this show are Asian. It seems kind of weird that they would do this with a black man and a white guy. You think they would do it
Mm-hmm.
amongst two Japanese guys or one Chinese and one Japanese? I don't know. That's just my. They're great. I will say that you said that is kind of interesting. I think in the back of my mind I was catching that, but I ignored it. So it was one of those things
Mm-hmm.
like I knew what they were trying to do, and I was focusing on whatever else was happening around the world. Cause like I did this a lot with Avatar where I didn't really pick on a lot of things. So I'm trying to separate the foreground from the background. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to peer into the background and see what else is happening. That's why I said that like something's going on with Varen. I think my theory of him killing him might be
Mm-hmm.
true, and maybe not. I might be 100% like 100% BS. Like that might not even be true. But like I said before,
Yeah.
you mentioned that Varen didn't have much death, and I was trying to say the only death I could see from that situation is maybe he killed him and maybe he didn't want to. But granted, he did definitely try to usurp the power really fast. So if he definitely didn't want to do it, he definitely did it and got it done, and then tried to take over the throne as quickly as he possibly could.
Yeah.
So regardless of what his intentions were, he immediately wanted to take over the throne. He didn't wait
Mm-hmm.
because he knew that the 7 days are going to probably be more than enough for those children to show back up.
I think your theory that he killed the king is solid. I think that his behavior when he leaves the room and finds the stepson of the king there, wanting to go in, and how aggressively he stops him because he has no reason to stop him. Like, what is his reason for stopping him? To the point where, why didn't he just say, no, get out of here, kid? No, he like went straight on aggressive about it, like stealing his voice and doing all sorts of things that should have consequences later.
Yeah, but
So
he also did a lot of that. He got provoked when he was asking about the dragon egg because Callum decided it was a good idea. He thought it was a good idea to tell him that he has the egg when he's already suspicious of the man.
okay, so he wanted him to tell him something, so he responds by stealing his voice. That
Yeah,
doesn't
I
sound.
know. When all that happened, I was like, so
Mhm.
you're gonna take his voice because you want to know where the egg is? That's kind of
Exactly.
counterproductive. So I don't know. I'm playing both sides. Like I said before,
Mhm.
my theory has holes. So does
This
yours.
story is
I
this
don't.
story is too good for these to be mistakes. That's all I'm saying. The storyline is too well built for these moments, these critical moments, to be looking over these things. Like they did all of this stuff on purpose, and I want to know why.
We'll find out. I said before, like I'm not saying that any of our theories are the gospel for this show until you see what actually happened.
But it's
Shoot,
fun to see if we're right.
shoot. For all we know, it could be a combination of what we just told, we just said. We just blew the entire series wide open, and we're gonna find out like months later that we were right. If
Could be.
that happens, I swear, the title of that episode will be "We Were Right." That'll be the finale.
Yes.
That'll be the finale. We were right. Suck it.
Wiener.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of small things, so just like like they're doing a lot of things are happening deliberately, and I'm thankful that the frame rate is as slow as it is. Um, I will say I think what the problem with the animation here though, and I kind of picked up on this when I first started watching episode 4. I
Mm-hmm.
think that unlike Avatar when they were animating every frame and they drew everything, I think because of money and time constraints, they had to skip certain key animations. So such as like the fluid motion of a sword going into the sheath, they would skip
Mm-hmm.
portions where it would drag across the face or whatever, or drag across like the screen, and immediately cut to the moments that matter, such as like every important point before the sword curved into like the sheath. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know if it gets better. This is a Netflix show, and apparently I don't think they knew the show was gonna get as like gain the much traction as it did. See, three seasons.
Mhm.
So I can only imagine that maybe season two gets better. 'Cause I know the Avatar definitely did that. Like book one wasn't that great of a spectacle to the season finale when that entire fish fight happened. Like I think that really was what propelled Avatar to as long as it did. That fish scene was ridiculous. That was beautiful, but it was beautiful. You can't tell me that wasn't beautiful.
No, it was.
Like that entire even the Avatar state was beautiful. Like so I only can imagine considering that like we're gonna probably see something very weird happen with Callum by that point. Maybe we're gonna find out that he has some like heritage we don't know about. Shoot, he might be part elf. I don't know. Granted, he doesn't have the pointy ears, so. But then again, this world has magic, and you can disguise yourself. For crying out loud, the elves can go invisible, so making this possibility that maybe he doesn't know he's like under a spell that is hiding his true appearance.
Could be anything.
Speaking of anything, have you noticed the blue hands at the very beginning of every episode where they has puts a scroll down? Do you think that's intentional?
What is it?
In the intro scene where they have the dragon prince when the scroll opens up,
Okay.
there are blue hands on there. Like
Interesting.
on top of that, the very first episode you hear a deep voice narrating over everything. Usually, they don't go to the trouble of like giving the body giving the voice a body.
Hmm.
Do you think that's important?
I don't know. I'm watching it now. I never noticed.
Like, there's a scroll that he puts down and just has the dragon has a dragon arching up with his wings like Batman and just like this dragon prince.
Hmm.
So like I'm just like there's like these blue hands put down a scroll and they scroll it out. So I'm just kind of weirded out that like usually they don't go to the trouble of that. If it's just a disembodied voice, they don't go to the trouble of giving them hands.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know if that's
I haven't
important.
seen the scroll yet.
Could it be? It could be. Maybe it's Column in the future. I don't know. Maybe it's the dead king. I don't know. It could be anything.
Hmm.
I just think that's an interesting thing that I saw twice and that they went to the trouble to animate. Because that was the only thing of that entire. Was it the only thing in that entire series that was animated in 2D? I think everything else was
You're
3D.
right. It is blue. I want my only guess that I have, and it's probably wrong, would be like the Queen of the Dragons or the Dragon Prince himself.
Well, I mean, it is the queen. Like I'm glad to know that she's humanoid. That's gonna probably involve a lot of lewd scenes.
No, I think dragons can probably take human form.
I mean, in this world,
They
I don't
often
know.
can.
I mean, yeah, a
The
lot of
Queen
times.
of the Dragon, the most powerful dragon, might choose to take human form.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know
It's
how.
interesting that they open with a scroll, and he lost an important scroll. So
Doesn't Claudia have that scroll now?
I don't know, but if it's his most important things that he was leaving for his stepson, then he lost something valuable, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, of course he did. I kind of find it funny too that Claudia ends up walking in after all the aftermath of everything that happened and ends up immediately going down in the basement. Like that was amazing. Like cause she deduced that quite quickly. I hope
Yeah,
she doesn't go insane, but something tells me that she is.
I don't know. She's a little too eccentric to go insane, in my opinion. But
Well, I mean, well, with that logic, she's already insane.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's definitely eccentric. She seems really airheaded sometimes, and other times not. Like when it comes to magic, she's very knowledgeable, but like other than that, it doesn't seem like. Because the very first episode, she was in that book and almost ran into a tree.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for Callum, she wouldn't have well, she would have ran in that thing. You know what I'm gonna
What
do?
do you think about the parallel that Callan ran into in a similar situation?
Huh?
She almost going back to your idea that the two of them are storyline connected or children of twins or something like that. Callum stopped her from running into a tree, and then the prince tried to stop Callum from running into a wall, and he actually ran into a wall. So it's interesting that they had that little parallel.
Yeah, I didn't think about that doing to accident. I knew that was for something because they wouldn't have let him walk into that wall like they did. He would have stopped. So
Well, it was a good way to make them cornered, but it's interesting that he went straight into a wall and she almost went into a tree.
yeah, I mean, they probably did that parallel on purpose. I
I think
almost say
so.
they did it on purpose.
This is a fantastic anime so far.
It's really an animated cartoon. It's not really made by Japanese people.
Oh, I thought it was.
Even though they're
Oh,
Asian.
yeah. I'm sorry, because Avatar wouldn't have been either. Yeah, well, it's a fantastic cartoon so far.
But yeah, I mean, like to feed into the whole anime thing, because you can call it anime regardless if you want. People claim that Avatar is anime, but it's like right in the line. I say it's right as a line because animes can get a little more risque, and there are plenty of points that they could have easily like. I mean, the closest thing they got into like full body nudity is like with Katara like being half nude sometimes, teaching Aang how to waterbend, and he was just
Yeah,
he was just drooling over her the entire time. So.
not my proudest fap.
Okay, get the not proud faps. Azula.
It's just like, you can bend my water.
I think every guy
baby.
who's watched Avatar, when they brought in that chick from book 3 that was friends with Azula, that right there was
Just
like
think of the sex potential of having sex with a bloodbender.
I don't want to. I actually don't want to.
I'm just saying, the erectile dysfunction is not a thing. That's all I'm saying. She can control where that blood goes.
That's why I definitely want to think about it because like all I can say is that like I mean I don't know this for certain because I've never been with a woman, but like all I can say is that from everything that I've seen on the outside, like women call guys perverts. I swear, like some of the freak things I heard, like when a guy gets perverted, they'll tell you what they want to do to you. A woman will tell you what she'll do to you, and it can get very, very sexual real fast. I believe women have higher libidos than guys do.
I think guys hit their hormonal peak when they're like late teens, early 20s, and women 30 to 40. Maybe their late 20s. That seems to be when they hit their sexual peaks, is like late 20s to 50, and men hit it from like, I don't know, 15 to 30. So I think that's part of the disconnect.
If I was in that room with you, John, I'd be looking at your wife right now. It's like, you gonna let him talk about you like this?
I'm just saying, I got to peel Jesse off the chandelier, you know?
Oh dear God. You know what's bad? I believe you. I mean, not the chandelier thing, but still. But yeah, but I wonder, like, cause I know they've been introducing a lot of characters. So far, we got 2 new characters, one we don't know anything about, and I'm actually kind of curious. I don't know why, but when I saw him, I was reminded of Kaboom. What's his name? Kaboom Man? I forgot his name. What Sokka called him. It was the firebender that was capable firebending with his mind.
Oh, Combustion Man.
Yeah, Combustion Man. I don't know why, but he reminded me of him a little bit. For no reason other than just he reminded me of him. I don't know why.
Who is this?
The guy that Maya sent after them to follow them. I mean, he didn't really look like him, but he just like his mannerisms kind of reminded me of him a little. Like he was like a quiet dude, very stoic.
Probably overkill for the situation.
Probably, considering that she left him alone. I don't know what he did or what he's capable of doing, but I am concerned for the well being of our heroes right now. Because Combustion Man, he was overkill to the max. He blew up everything. That's something I wish I could ever. If there was one thing I could ask the creators of that show, what was the point of him? Like, you could have stuck him anywhere in the series, but you stuck him as an assassin who blows things up. And on top of that, blew himself up trying to kill you. And then we get to Legend of Korra, we find out that he had a sister.
There's just one more thing that Zuko put in motion to make their lives difficult. It was also the last thing, and you get to see Zuko like trying to take it back.
Yeah, and I think he even face palms, like wondering why did I even hire him.
Mm-hmm. It was like just a remnant from when he went through that dark swing.
Like he hit, like I will say, like Avatar did the whole changing from like the dark side to the light side very well. Like they even had a physical representation when he got sick. Like I don't think I've ever seen that transition like done that way.
Yeah, I love that.
Like ever. He got literally sick and then literally had to like fight through it. Well, like, I guess we can talk about a little Avatar a little bit before we end off here. But we'll talk about dark themes. The Earth Kingdom was by far, I believe, the darkest point in Avatar, because they literally had like mind control, like going on throughout the entire kingdom. Like I don't think I've ever seen a kingdom so like bent on like controlling its people than the queen of that area.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was ridiculous. I almost want to say I think the Earth Kingdom was China. Like I almost want to bet that's what it was based on. I think the Earth Kingdom was China. Because like, if you look at everything, because it's been there for a while, and Earth Kingdom's been known to be like they're like very stoic people. They don't move easily, and China has been around for like thousands of years. They have like they have architecture in their country dating back to before United States was even around. Like they've been around for a long time. So it's just one of those things where like it's kind of interesting that like Earth Kingdom is essentially looks like China, and like they have a lot of evil going on there. So they even like mind controlled Jet, and he had a panic attack. It was like very weird.
Yeah, I felt pretty bad for Jet in that scene.
I like how Toph was just like she didn't know what was happening, but she was like, "Am I to assume he was your boyfriend?" And I was like, "No." I like how offended she got. It was like, "Wow, Katara." I like the if any interaction I enjoyed Toph having, it was her interaction with Katara. Those two groups,
I
huh?
like Toph's blind jokes.
Well, that's because she can make them. Cause she don't care.
That's what I heard. She was just like she would mock everybody and just be like.
I find it cool that like she's like a royalty, but she doesn't care. She's blind. You get this little princess who puts on this facade that she's weak, but only to find out she's like the strongest earthbender of her time.
She's royalty and it only slowed her down.
It was awesome.
Her life, like royalty was like the worst thing that ever happened to her.
Well, I mean, she spent most of that series running away from her parents, only to like write her parents, and then we find out in Legend of Korra that she clearly never went back to royalty because she's a cop, and then like I probably had like a fling with two guys that we never met. Had 3 children, 2 of them from the same guy, and then 1 from the other one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm sitting there like,
she wanted, huh?
she got around. Like that's what I said. I was like, dang, Toph, you got around. Like for a blind chick, you got around. Like all I know is like they didn't care you were blind when they were doing you. That's all I gotta say. Like she probably didn't know. Like what is that? What is that thing? It's hard. Yeah, I'll just show you.
She knew exactly what was going on.
Oh dear, good gracious.
She'd be on a date with a guy and having dinner or something. Hard, I can feel you.
Oh dear God.
She's like, you can't fool anything with me. I know exactly how big you are. I know.
We would talk about like I guess like things that happened that like you kind of tell that it was really good. Like when Aang married Katara, he wasted no time. He had 3 children. And they were literally like I think they were all almost around the same age. I would say they were all like 1 year apart.
I thought we were talking about sex with a bloodbender.
Well, Katara had banned bloodbending, remember? So she didn't use it on him. Well, I mean, I can't say she didn't because they never said, what their love life was like.
I mean, you never know.
I find it interesting that too, like Katara, even though she was there, she wasn't there.
Superheroes and people with whether or not they did something like that. Like, do you really think Bruce Banner never helped even once for sex?
Wait, what?
Do you really think, for example, Bruce Banner never even once turned into Hulk for sex reasons?
There's a college humor video about that, actually.
If you could turn...
No, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. You can look it up. There's a college humor video actually about that exact subject. And the entire video, the woman that he's dating is trying to get him to Hulk out. And by the end of the video, he hulks out. She comes back looking for her bag, and she's like, "That's the smallest dick I've ever seen." And the Hulk is like, "Aww." I was like, "Wow." Like, okay. The joke is that it probably doesn't get big either.
Oh, now we know what you're compensating for there, Hulk.
I saw a comment when I watched that video. I was like, now we know why the Hulk is angry all the time. It's just, I was laughing. I was like, that video, I need to show you that video, but that was so funny to me.
Hulk sees a girl, he's like, Hulk smash.
Like, Hulk tried to smash. Sorry, this never happened to Hulk before. And she just walks out the door. But, yeah, there's like a lot of questions I actually had. Like, I mean, especially Katara, she like had 3 children and then disappears after her husband dies, and we don't. She's there and she's not there, and then they have Toph comment on it when she comes back in the series when she's old, and she's like, "I'm gonna leave you to just the younger kids." Like, why do you think Katara doesn't get involved? I was like, that's why they didn't have Katara in there. I knew that was for the fans, so that was for nobody else but the fans. That was Toph talking to the fans of the series.
Right.
There was no reason for you to say that. I so would have loved to see Katara fight as a waterbender when she's older. Because can you imagine how much like wisdom she would have gotten from over the years?
Yeah, she had tremendous potential right from the beginning. So everybody that traveled with the Avatar seemed like they were probably going to be the best of their type.
Well, so was Sokka.
No, Sokka seemed like he was going to be one of the greatest warriors too, didn't he?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like to me, as much as I enjoy, don't get me wrong.
And a great leader. He spent the whole time being the leader.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's for the whole time, but like, when it comes to like physical prowess, I have expected him to gain the ability to waterbend, like half of the series, but he never did. And honestly, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Sokka. I enjoy his leadership and stuff like that because he's the only one that could lead because he's the one that could plan for whatever reason. Nobody else could plan, which is weird. But like I found it kind of weird, and kind of cheap that he decides to like because he doesn't have a master, decides to go find a master, and then immediately loses the sword in the finale. Like it's some like great ending to his arc. Like I felt like that was disappointing. Like I really wanted him to use that sword again.
But wasn't Boomerang his primary weapon?
But I don't think it ever came back, did it?
The Boomerang always came back.
I thought he threw it one time and it didn't come back.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think that was in the. I think he lost Boomerang and sword in that.
Let's see, more disappointing.
Yeah.
I think of funny things. Speaking of interactions, Toph had interactions with Sokka. It was clear that she wanted Sokka, but he had no interest in her. Because there were so many scenes of Toph hugging on to especially when she was like being saved by Suki and she was like kissing Sokka, only to find out it was Suki. I was laughing so hard. I was like, really? They're gonna push that pairing this late in the series?
They were floating what they're gonna do in the next series, just to see how people would react.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure people ship those two hardcore, but like, I enjoyed Suki because she was a pretty cool character, like strong, independent woman of like the Kyoshi tribe.
Yeah, I liked her too.
So she was definitely a good pairing for Saga. I mean, the only woman to put him in his place.
She totally did too.
It's disappointing that he didn't have a kid. I would have loved to see that.
Do we know they didn't?
I don't think they did because they would have brought it up. Because
When would they brought that up? It
because
doesn't
like
seem.
Katara never brought up having a niece.
No. But we didn't. We don't know for sure that they didn't. And we
And
also
Tenzin
don't.
never brought up having like a cousin or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right though. There's no proof that they didn't, but it's like it's kind of weird that with Sokka being as prolific as he is and being a senator, you think they would have brought that up that they had children.
Yeah.
I don't even think did we ever see Suki in there? Was she ever present?
No, I think they just forgot about her.
That's
It was
sad.
like the launch of this series.
Don't compare her to Launch. Please don't. That's even sadder.
Does anyone know what happened to launch?
She went to go and bang Tingy, and that's the last I heard of her. Wait, was that something they said in the abridged series? They ever know what happened to Launch?
Yes. They were all talking about the good old times, and they cut to launch like passed out in a bar somewhere.
Oh, that is right. That's weird because that was an official animated scene in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I don't either, actually. I don't know. Maybe they picked it from some, like, maybe it was straight from Dragon Ball or something. I don't know.
I guess it could be.
Launch appears for like it's like a tenth of a second at the very end of the Buu arc.
Well, so does Tien. Tien pops up at the last second to save Gohan. Like when that happened, I said, "Oh yeah, I forgot about you." That was my initial thought. I was like, "Oh yeah, Tien exists." Wait a minute.
Yeah. Tien's thing just became like magical. Show up, do something super profound, bring himself out immediately, and get his ass handed to him in the end.
Well, I think really what was supposed to happen is because Yamcha was supposed to be more relevant, and unfortunately, Yamcha became irrelevant. So did Tien,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate because there's still a debate out there whether Tien's human, and that'll probably go to everybody's grave. Nobody would ever know.
I think it's Chaozu. Like I liked Chaozu in the early series. I wish they'd done more with Chaozu.
Well, here's the thing: they turned Chaozu into a bomb.
And then he was gone.
They turned him into a literal bomb, and then like I like the explanation they gave for Chaozu in the Abridged series is that Tien doesn't allow him to blow up anymore. Like, I like the explanation. It's like Tien doesn't allow him to blow up anymore. So like it's pretty cool that that's at least they have their own head canon. It's just like Tien doesn't allow me to do that anymore. Says it doesn't work as effectively as you think it would.
The Abridged series is better than Dragon Ball in so many ways. I'm not saying always better, but like it competes very well for me in entertainment level to the actual Dragon.
Well, Toei doesn't appreciate parodies. This is the main reason why lots of people will have trouble.
Like a minute of Dragon Ball. There's very few minutes of the original series that.
I just had a funny thought, and I just had a really funny thought of like how they would have abridged like the Super Saiyan 3 transformation, because Sean Simo said that he ends up passing out for a hot second when he's yelling. Mm-hmm. They could have easily had Goku reverse Goku pass out in his own brain, like he just starts thinking about what's going on, what's Chi Chi doing or something like that, but he's still just charging up, and everybody in the background, even Piccolo's like, wait, what's he doing? Wait, and then that's like, wait, something doesn't sound right. Like, wait, did he just pass out? Wait, but he's still yelling. Like, yeah, that's the problem. he just passes out and he's like, oh wait a minute, I'm doing this now. He just
Or he
goes like,
doesn't even know he transforms. He just does it.
so he's like, yeah, he's like,
Guys.
so I'm gonna show you what a Super Saiyan 3 is. Wait, what's this? What do you mean, what's this? Oh, snap, I transform! And that's the
The
power of the
problem
muffin
is
button.
the problem with Team 4-Star, like beyond the Cell Saga, is like, I mean, when they go into the Gohan part, the series is practically a parody of itself. And I don't know what they would do with the Saiyan Saga, like the Great Saiyaman Saga. And then
But here's the
when they
thing.
get past,
I think they would play out the Great Saiyan Man saga because it's kind of key. As much as I hate to admit it, besides the whole bringing Videl into the fold, it's key until how they figure out what's the next big bad is.
mm-hmm.
Because they wouldn't have found out about Spopovich and Yamu because for a reason Gohan didn't even sense that this thing was off, which was another stupid plot hole. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, he didn't find out about it, and then the Supreme Kai shows back up. Actually, that'd be a funny
Mm-hmm.
thing. You talking about Piccolo and those three voices in his brain. Piccolo's like, huh? I feel like I know him before.
Yeah, I think that part, but like, I just don't. The main story of the Great Saiyaman Saga, so
They
much of it
wouldn't.
is
They
like,
they wouldn't really. They wouldn't really need to tell the story. They just need to like. They need to throw a couple ideas in from there, such as like Gohan going to
mm-hmm.
school. They probably would have done 2 episodes of Gohan going to school for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's Videl interaction there that gives the
Yeah,
explanation towards why Videl can fly. Don't need to do that.
right.
They already could easily cut all that out and then show Videl flying, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I can do this now," and cut away. Like,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just they stopped like the series stopped trying to be serious for a really long time, and like it just it's a waste. You know what I mean? Like, how do you parody something that's self seriously?
I don't think Dragon Ball Z Abridged was ever really serious. The only times in the series I would say that it got real serious and they took them as source material very seriously was Goku
Yeah.
versus Frieza. They took that very seriously, even though they really made Frieza appear to be an ass. Like that was like one of the weird things about that entire situation is that they really took Frieza's character and decided to go out on the go out have a field day with it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with the Cell Saga, they took Cell's character and just ran with it as the rapist thing, which was the
Yeah.
obvious thing. I called that before it was even gonna happen. Um,
Yeah.
so they already were making fun of Cell's character to begin with. Um, if anything,
But
Boo,
they have like a basic running gag for all of them. Like in the Saiyan saga, like Vegeta just can't believe what's going on and like is in denial of what's even happening for the Vegeta saga and Team 4-Star. The running gag for the Frieza saga was that Frieza just can't believe how annoying this. He's the most annoying thing ever, and Frieza wants like Frieza takes pride in himself and like emotionally destroying every single like person that he fights before physically destroying them. And like he's decided it's his goal, but he can't emotionally destroy Goku because Goku just doesn't get it. And then the thing with Cell is like that they've got like kind of a bro and Goku both want to challenge themselves as much as possible, and they're the two biggest fish in the pond as far as he can tell. So like the two of them have like that thing going on right there. You know what I mean? So son and stuff like that.
I mean, the only thing I would say that
But
they could have done with Boo is they could have like since he was already a kid, they could just run with that idea, and pretty much they
mm-hmm.
could run with the muffin button thing and run into the ground if they really wanted to. Like
Mm-hmm.
they could have easily ran the muffin button. I feel like that was a good stage material they could have used, but like I said before, they were just creatively exhausted and they didn't want to continue with something that they didn't think they could make fun anymore. On top of that, they
Yeah.
couldn't risk YouTube shutting them down. Granted, they lost the channel like twice and got it back both times. So I mean, I guess
Mm-hmm.
for them it just wasn't worth it trying to figure that out. I haven't really been back to them because I haven't heard much. Usually, if something comes out from them, I'll get it on my feed, so I don't really have to
Yeah.
subscribe to them.
They've been doing meta stuff about like Dragon Ball and bloopers and things like that, and I just yeah. Like they've been doing a lot of like meta things about like how the series was built and their feelings on it and stuff. And I watched one or two and then I lost interest.
I mean, I'm disappointed, but I'm not that disappointed. Like, I rather they be able to, keep their job and keep the people that they have employed without like risking their livelihoods. I mean, and in this time right now, like that's really important. Like if they tried risking that channel again, like they probably would just give up on it. I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, they can just get real jobs. Well, I mean, that's true too, but this is a real job too. You know, they're making money and they got people that depend on them to give them a paycheck. I mean, a lot of people like to complain about like the whole like money is the most evil thing. It depends on how you look at it. If you need a paycheck to survive, that's not really you being evil or you being money grubbing. That's you trying to be able to feed yourself. So I'm pretty sure some of these people in that thing from the looks of it, they have families they got to worry about too. So they can't like. What I hope they can do. I think they said that Dragon Ball Abridged wasn't really dead. I think what I hope that they're gonna do, and this is like what I hope they do, they could try abridging the movies. Like I think they can get away with that. If they wanted to go back, they want to go back and abridge a movie every 2 years. I think they can get away with that because Toei wouldn't really be looking for it.
I don't think they are going back. I think, and the content about the making of the series and reflecting on their experiences. So
They might surprise you. They might go back. You never know. A lot of content creators said they're going to stop doing something, and they stop for a couple years, and they come back to it and do it again for a month or two. But they always do come back to it, so they can always come back.
They already did that a couple times where they went away for. So I don't know, friend.
I mean, like the only other option they have is to go to another website, but I don't think they can take their viewers because everybody knows what YouTube is. They're not gonna. And right now, there's nothing out there. That's one of the biggest problems. A lot of people are saying that YouTube can do what they want because nobody's competing with them. If they had somebody that scared them, then they would be doing a lot better. But the closest thing was Daily Motion, and that ain't doing well. I think another thing that was competent and then it got shut down. And I forgot Elazabra was using it a lot. Forgot though it went away like years ago.
Well, there was Twitch too.
But Twitch is still going around, but like Twitch isn't Twitch isn't a substitute for YouTube, and it can't be. I mean, until Twitch allows you to upload and keep back logs of videos on their website, it won't be a substitute for YouTube. That's why
Vimeo.
That's why
Vimeo's kind of big.
Well, Vimeo isn't really. Yeah, Vimeo's been around for a while, but Vimeo isn't going to catch on because it hasn't caught on yet. It won't catch on. I mean, I'm using BitChute to backlog some stuff too, but it doesn't. Its system doesn't even work that well. Like I haven't. Like I should be. Like videos up to this point should be like backlogged on that channel, but it's not. I think the last thing that it backloaded was episode like 5 or something of this podcast. It hasn't logged anything recently. But with that, we're like an hour and 28 minutes in. We're going to end it here. We're going to come back next week for 2 more episodes.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, 2 more episodes. I think then after that, it's a 3 episode. Or we can just do 2 episodes and then 1 episode to finish it out. We'll figure it out.
Alrighty.